I am in shambles, an old sick man, half blind with a handful of memories that no one can believe. But I have not lost my clarity of mind or my strong determination, and the seduction of debates is still alive in my heart. I thought that if I found Mohammed Shahroun, I would be able to locate the link that would take me to the heart of matters. But there was no trace of him, and I did not meet anyone who knew him. As if he had not entertained a generation of Egyptians with his voice. At the Institute of Oriental Music, I was told that Shahroun lived sometime in Morocco, but that since then, no one had heard from him. I went to the Hillmayor Palace, found a huge building in its place, property of an insurance company. I had inherited a large sum of money from my wife, but spent most of it in prison, on cigarettes and other matters. And I had hardly any money left. I went to Aisha Turguman, but found no trace of the old place. It had become a modern suburb with a park and a gas station. I met many of my old colleagues, some retired, others still working in the field of law. I must tell you, though, that no one tried to avoid me. No, on the contrary, some received me very warmly. There were those who had kept the enthusiasm for their own doctrines, while others had been pulled away by life's worries and its needs. I wondered where Marwan's and Huda's children were. But I decided that no good would come of finding them, and that I had better leave them alone. See, I find pleasure sometimes in imagining their lives and those of their children, my grandchildren. There are certainly among them bandits and judges. They're possibly more numerous than I think. I might meet them in my wanderings, but I wouldn't recognize them, and they wouldn't recognize me. Now, once all those pressing matters were settled, I thought about resuming my struggle for my doctrine and establishing my party. But I faced insurmountable obstacles. Among them, my advanced age, my extreme frailty, and my appearance, which provoked pity and sometimes disgust. A leader, as you well know, must have a charismatic and appealing personality. Furthermore, the field of politics was filled with lively and influential people. I told myself I had better write down my theory in a book. If I failed to do so, however, which was a distinct possibility, I would still preach my doctrine wherever I went. Might be picked up by someone more capable than I. Oh yes, someone who would make it work. I was convinced then that all I had left to do was force short rest before the eternal rest. Oh, his face came back to me from my past memory. I did not doubt that he had died, but I wondered about his money, and his palace. I stood under the walls of the huge palace, as imposing as a mountain, then slipped toward the blind alley, toward the gate. To my surprise, it was ajar. I pushed the gate and went in. I was surprised by what I saw. I had never expected or imagined it would happen. There was no garden, no ceramic. The flowers and their scent were gone, and so was the chirping of the birds. There was nothing left but a huge wasteland with piles and piles of garbage and a group of beggars.
What happened? Was it demolished?
No, there was nothing but waste everywhere, surrounded by the high walls and the imposing front gate. The beggars looked at me with concern and fear, but I stomped my feet on the ground and went to see if any of my grandfather's companions were still alive. And al-Rawi had died 1 year after my imprisonment, and that he had spent all his wealth on charitable organizations and the needy without leaving me or any of my descendants a single penny. As for the palace, well, it had been destroyed when a bomb fell on it during one of the aerial attacks in Cairo. The rubble had been cleared out. This is the whole story, from beginning to end. I soon realized that I wouldn't get any peace during the short period of respite that precedes the eternal rest. And I also decided to set up house in the ruins of my grandfather's palace, and there I sleep. Usually between dawn and forenoon, like any beggar.
On a happy old age.
No! I refuse pity and compassion. Never forget that you're talking to a great man, and the proof of his greatness is his ability to adapt to the most difficult of conditions and situations and face them with pride. Oh yes, and a smile.
Anyhow, about your monthly financial support, which you will need.
I have made a decision regarding that.
You cannot be serious about that decision.
I am extremely serious.
So you will not try the petition.
I certainly would.
This is pure madness.
Now call it whatever you like. Call it whatever you like. Now since al-Rawi deprived me of my inheritance, I refuse to beg for even 1 penny of it. No.
Jaafar, you're old, weak, and poor. And the little money you have left will soon be spent.
I know all that. Oh yes. Very, very well. But I am more stubborn than al-Rawi himself.
Then let me write it for you.
See, there is no possibility of communication between the two of us. You fear life, and I despise it. What you fear, even in your imagination, I have endured. And everything you ask God to spare you, I have sought with my own free will.
Oh.
I do not yawn before dawn.
Yeah. Bravo.
I am a roaming beggar. A roaming beggar. I leave Arawi's wasteland to wander in the streets. From Margush to Al-Khurunfish to Al-Nahas and finally to Khan Jaafar. Everywhere I go, I have a memory and a secret. There are memories in Bamia, and in Baba Square, my heart beats. Everywhere I go, I spread my doctrine. I invite humanity to save itself.
Doctrine.
Oh yes, my doctrine, based on 3 tenets: a philosophical principle, a social doctrine, and a system of government. The adoption of a philosophical principle is left to the interested person to choose whether it is materialism, spiritualism, or even Sufism. The social doctrine is communist in its essence. It is based on collective ownership, the abolishment of private property and inheritance, total equality, and the elimination of all forms of exploitation. It is guided by the following motto: from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. As for the system of government, it is democratic, based on the multi-party system, a separation of power, and the protection of all sorts of freedom, except free ownership and human values. One can generally say that my system is the logical heir of Islam, the French Revolution and the Communist Revolution.
And you do that openly.
Oh yes.
You're not worried of troubles.
I do not fear troubles, any troubles. It is time for us to grow. Let life be filled with holy madness to the last breath.